IVM.
On Paisa Vaisa, I've often talked about IPOs, but have you heard of IPQ? Instituted in 2019, IPQ or India Protection Quotient is an annual property by Max Life Insurance in partnership with Kantar that gauges the financial preparedness of urban Indians. In the recently launched IPQ 4.0, the protection quotient moves up 3 points to 50, revealing a stronger, more secure urban India at the back of a prolonged COVID-19 pandemic. The survey also reveals how urban Indians are reprioritizing long-term objectives of saving for children's education and retirement. Interesting, right? Well, you can read more on the findings by visiting www.maxlifeinsurance.com/maxlife-IPQ. Folks, welcome to Paisa Vaisa, powered by Max Life Insurance. I'm your host, Anupam Gupta, B50 on Twitter. And this is a really special episode, one that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. There are a few guests on Paisa Vaisa that I like to call friends of Paisa Vaisa. These guys are, people that I've been very, very lucky to know online. And those, they like the podcast. They've been on the podcast before. But my current guest has not been on the podcast. He was very kind enough in his previous job to sponsor Paisa Vaisa, but that was long time ago. So my guest, Pravin Jadhav, founder, CEO, Dhan, and we are going to talk about the Dhan app, what's been happening in the world of stock trading, investing, and much, much more right after this short break.
You're the people pleaser, right?
Oh, yes.
Or then desperately seeking the one? Or wait, you're the one who doesn't think they're ever good enough.
Oh.
So much drama. And for what? Is it doing you any good? Listen to me. I'm Chetna, your favorite positive action coach. Yes, I'm the one who has been dropping all those truth bombs on every episode.
Oh, no.
And it's time you learn to say no to drama. That's also what my podcast is called. And a new episode is out every Monday and Wednesday on the IBM Podcast app, website, as well as all major podcasting platforms.
And welcome back, Pravin, PJ, my friend. Welcome to Paisa Vaisa. Finally, I have got you on the show. Thank you so much for doing this for our listeners.
Hey, thanks a lot, Anupam. And as you know, I've been a fan first and a part of your show next. Okay, so I would say that the equation still remains the same. Okay, still a fan, and I still remember my days. My morning walks was basically catching up on the episodes which I missed, and then finally reaching out to you and saying, "Hey, I like what you're doing."
And thank you so much. That was, it's strange, right? Because I never had you on the show, but we have done one podcast together, and that, of course, is Shunya One with Sheelu, and that was way back in February 2019, when I think the world was in black and white. 3 years, man. What's been happening since then? Tell us.
All good. Yeah, I think people have changed. All of us have changed. I think we now have new perspectives. Okay, new things to look for. I think new things to chase for. I think that's what it is. I think I remember the fact that we did a show with Sheila was because I think it was intersection of finance and tech. And at that point of time, I was just getting started with my journey with Paytm Money, and we were talking about how the world is investing in mutual funds, and that was, I think, the inflection point for that product. And I'm sure you know this as good as probably as anyone does. Okay, today investing everywhere, so be it crypto or be it stock broking and all, I think the conversation is so common today, and I think the times have changed significantly, right?
They have. I mean, we're going to talk about some of that out here, and especially your new venture. So tell us about Raise Financial Services, and then what's the plan here? Because once you were out of Paytm Money, you could have done anything in fintech. And as you correctly said, so much has happened in these last 3 years, 19, 20, 21, and now 22 just started. You could have chosen anything, but you chose investing. Why? And why Dhan? Tell us about that. Let's start from there.
Sure. So actually, this is what is something that no, I also thought about exactly. No, there's a chance to build anything and everything. And trust me, okay, when I started looking at what to build next, it was probably get back to the stage where you have a blank paper in your hand, okay, and you just want to write notes. And I actually did a research of some 40, 50 different models in financial services, okay. Not all of them are obviously feasible, okay, but then A lot of them were exciting, and I'm sure you look at those, multiple infographics that now come up nowadays. Hey, this is becoming so large in payments. This is becoming so large in subscription. This is becoming so large in investment, insurance, and so on. So I looked at every tiny bit of product that you can, possibly end up looking up. Looked at everything. Can it make money? Can it scale? Is it India the right time for this? Or is it the right place for it to build in India? Okay, how big is the TAM and so on. But this time when I was building, okay, I wanted to get one thing very, very sure that no, I want to build a profitable venture. Okay, and all this noise about financial services, fintechs, and I tweet about it all the time, which is fintechs versus banks and banks versus fintechs. Okay, while all those conversations make for great tweets and stuff, I think what fundamentally we all have to realize, or probably I have become old enough to realize, that at the end you have to build a business. It's not about building an app. It's not about building an startup. It's basically building a business. And I want to do something which is fundamentally first. Okay, and in that journey I realized, no, I want to focus on building something which is going to make revenue standalone. Okay, and can it scale to become a profitable company? So in that journey, Anupam, I ended up looking at almost every model, and I figured out there are only 5 or 6 models in India. Okay, where primarily, okay, you can build a significantly large business and yet stick to basics. Okay, doing fundamental things nicely, add tech to it. Okay, and there is a room of becoming profitable. Okay, so few of them. One of them is banking, which again is, is a huge thing to do. And obviously, banking, the basic is, you end up getting funds, which is probably near zero cost now. Okay, there are people who are wanting to trust you because you're a bank, okay, and keep money with you. And having money with you is a great leverage to building any other business that you want to get into financial services. And even if you look at some of the large financial services today, all of them have an anchor product, which is bank. Okay. The second thing was payments. Okay. And payments, I realized there are tons of things that you can end up doing, but to do any sort of cross sell of financial services, you need to come to a place where there is at least 10 million or 15 million monthly active users. Okay, so that you can cross sell something to that. Okay. Third part is insurance. Okay, which is very difficult to sell. I'm sure you know about that. It's a push product even today in today's market. Okay, and you end up meeting your customer once in a year. Okay, and the next year you don't even know if the person is going to renew with you or not. The next part is lending, which is like super hot, but again, no, it has its own challenges about NPAs, and the banks are not able to do it right, and then there's a fintech trying to do that, and so on. So I looked at all of this. Okay, then I sat back and said, no, you have to go where your strengths are. Okay, you have to go where what is that fundamentally excites you. Okay, what is that you can keep on building maybe for the next 5, 6, 10 years. Okay, and still be excited about it and all. So in between all of that, the kind of team that we were putting up together, okay, I think all of us had a very common interest in investing. Okay, so which is why, like you said, no, we can end up doing everything, but at the end you want to build something for which you're really passionate about, or you really think there is something significant value that you can build. And that's how this journey started for us. And again, investing is the first piece of what we're starting.
Yeah, fantastic, because investing has been quite hot in the past 2 years, right? So talk to us. Tell us a little bit more about what's changed in the stock broking industry. Not exactly very old industry, but now also very, I would say, concentrated in industry with the number of players and the kind of work that they've done. So what has changed here?
When did you start investing yourself, Anupam? When was the first?
यार मैं हर्षद मेहता के जमाने का हूँ यार. People are seeing Scam 1992 on their app. Said, boss, I've lived this. I started a very, very long time. Very long time ago. I'm a chartered accountant, yes, and my office was literally opposite the Bombay Stock Exchange. So I go back to the late 80s, early 90s.
Correct. So let's start the journey from there, and I'm sure this will remind you some of those things, right? So the old days, and I think that that the entire series made it very, very famous that the only place to transact is the ring. Okay, the old ring at BSE. Okay, that's how it's all started. Okay, then if you look at the journey quickly, okay, it went to the stockbrokers. They realized you need to get more people to invest in stock markets. Okay, so they started creating branches or sub brokers, if you remember them. Okay, every nook and corner around cities had a sub broker. Okay, who would connect to the main broker and who would invest on top of you. So this is how it started. Okay, and then at some point of time, maybe I think late 90s, okay, where banks woke up to this and they said, hey, we want to get into investing because anyways we're a bank, people trust us by default. And the model to go after is you need to have branches. Okay, most of the stockbrokers do have sub brokers, and we already have that network, right? India has like tons of banks and so many branches across. So then the second layer started where banks started coming into the stockbroking business, and most of the top banks today have a securities arm, okay, which is where the distribution got onboarded. And then early this year, or early this decade, okay, or the previous decade, okay, you saw the new wave of technology driven plays started coming up. The first one, if you recollect, was Sher Khan, where they started again back 20 years back, where you can go and log in onto the internet portal and start trading, which was very new. Like, I'm sure you've seen those old terminals
Yeah.
where people are sitting in front of the machine and punching in orders and doing those gestures, this and this. Okay, you want to buy, and all of that. That shifted to a desktop and a mouse. Okay, and then that's now evolved into an app. Okay, which is what all of us are doing today. So I think the journey started with traditional brokers, went to bank-driven brokers, then technology-led or probably discount brokers and all. But if you look at today, we are sitting in a market where everyone is a discount broker today. Okay, so while the trend was started by Nitin and Zero, the awesome stuff what they have done. Okay, I think they were able to convince the world that this is the way to invest. Okay, and that's how the journey started. I think this is what has happened. Okay, I can probably sum it in for 5 minutes, but this is what has happened over the last 40, 50 years now. Okay, and it's been interesting how post pandemic, okay, when no one thought about, okay, people were worried about their lives, but I think people are also worried about how to make more money that you're sitting at home, and the numbers just exploded, right? The number of people who came into the market in last 24 months is I think 25 million, which is probably 2x of the number which was ever existed before as active investors.
What's your view on that? 2.5 crore people coming in, base expanding, it's just exploded. What's your view on this? I mean, and especially since you gave that background of, going back all the way to the 90s, what do you think of this entire interest, this surge in interest that's happened?
A few things, Anupam, right? Okay, I think all of us traditionally thought, okay, money in the bank is safe money, okay, or FD was an investment, is the thing that we all grew up with, okay. And some of my older FDs which just matured 1 or 2 years back, I remember when I did an FD, it was like 9.5% return. And today when I have to invest button, right, okay, that number looks like a 4% number today, which is very discouraging, right? You have to think twice, do I want to do an FD or do I want to put my money something else? Okay, where I'm probably okay with the 20% downside, okay, but if I'm going to play long run, if I'm getting 15% returns year on year, I'm going to be very happy about that. I think that is one fundamental factor, okay, where the current generation is now not thinking about FD as an investment, okay, but probably as a way to maybe park money for some short time or so on. But I think other things that have happened in the industry, which probably very well, but not many people speak about. Okay, remember earlier calls for investing were happening because of some brokerage or some institutional report coming up. Okay, it used to land in your email and say, hey, this is our call on this particular stock, and it was followed by some 20 pages of documentation which has tons of graphs. Okay, this industry is going, and probably everything that you would want to know about a company, okay, and then you want to decide you want to invest. Okay, today things have changed. Today you log on to Instagram, today you log on to YouTube. Okay, there is a new category of evangelist, okay, which is called financial influencer or fin influencers, okay, which was not existent. Okay, so a few years down the line, for you to get information about a company, okay, you have to literally wait for reports from 5 different brokerage houses or research analysts, okay. Then you take an aggregate view of all of that, and then probably would want to take a call and all. Okay, so today there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there are folks who are doing research that is communicated to today's generation, not like people like us who were comfortable with those reports and hey, this looks good, okay, this is well presented, okay, and it is a lot of insightful information, let me go and do it. I think that's changed fundamentally. And the other part which I always keep on saying, okay, this is motivation, ability, and trigger. Okay. So the last bit is today, folks are much more experimental when it comes to investing money. Okay. So I'm not talking stockbroking. So in my own office, okay, there are folks who are between 20 to 25, or even the ones who are in 30s, okay, very, very experimental, okay. I have to park some money, let's go and experiment with crypto, okay. And I think that motivation today is there. They have ability, and the trigger was basically a pandemic where you have time. I think all of that is put together, and given people a chance to go and explore whatever you want. Okay, so if you look at the crypto boom, it's insane. Okay, if you look at the stockbroking boom, it's insane. Okay, and the reason is today there's no other way to for you to a common person to make money, right? Okay, if you have some money, or if you want to make some money outside of things, okay, investment is the only option you have today. And while there's a debate about crypto, what is legal, what is not legal, or is it even legal? Okay, it's definitely taxed now. But stockbroking is the only legit way that you can actually go ahead and invest some money in companies that you believe in, okay, or trades that you want to do and make some money. So I think a lot has changed in the last 24, 36 months.
Fantastic. So, folks, we're going to take a small break here. For now, on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about technology, how the market, Dhan's progress in this last since they launched behavioral, a lot of other stuff right on the other side of this break. We'll be right back.
Remember the days when our granny used to narrate once upon a time stories? Let's bring back the good old days of moral stories with Storytime Tamil. Hi, I am Ravishankar Balachandran, host of Storytime Tamil podcast. I would like you to entertain and educate your children with stories from Storytime Tamil. Tune in to the new episode sharp at 7 p.m. every day on IVM website, IVM podcast app, YouTube channel, or wherever you get your podcast from.
Okay, Pravin, so, with most of our guests who are from the markets, we talk about stuff like investing, returns, and a lot of other stuff. But you're someone who gets the product and the technology underneath. And always, a lot of your tweets back then, you've made this nice joke about our platform hai ki aap kya hai, goes back to the whole Khosla ka Ghosla, party hai ki broker. So tell us how things work behind the scenes. What happens when I open my account, send orders to an exchange, hit buy, hit sell, when I add money to my broking account. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So in fact, it is much difficult topic to talk about, and from like I have built products in payments, built product in mutual funds, okay, have a fair idea of how things work on lending or insurance, okay, or even banking. I think the most complex product out in the market today, where someone has to really build in form of technology, is a stockbroking product. Okay, it's a balance of, I think every trade that you take today, okay, is a risk. Okay, risk on the user, risk on us, risk on the exchange, and obviously, how do you build a cutting edge product or tech? Okay, and that balances all the regulations out there in the market. Okay, so I think my appreciation for the entire industry has little changed. Okay, when I started building this on my own versus probably, yaar, ye to chalna hi chahiye usme. I mean, what can go wrong out here? Okay, but then coming to what you're asking, like what happens when you let's say do your KYC, okay, or what happens when you open your app. So when you open an app and start opening, you're doing your onboarding process, okay, which is your PAN check, okay, that PAN is validated with the income tax department. We get to know if it's legit or not legit. If it is legit, okay, we go and do your KYC, which includes in proof of identity, your IPV, your bank verification, and all of that. So once everything is done, okay, you get an account opening form in front of you, which you can e-sign using an Aadhaar-based e-sign token. I think that's the journey that I think as a user, or anyone knows as a user. Okay, a lot of people don't know what happens afterwards. Okay, so what happens afterward is now we check your details, okay, in CKYC. We check your details in the KRA. If it is not updated in the KRA, we update your records, or we create your records in the KRA. So next time you as a user, whenever you are investing under any SEBI registered intermediary, you don't have to do a KYC. You don't have to do a full KYC again. On top of that, people don't know there's a PMLA check that happens in the back end. So if you are someone who is banned from participating in markets, or has been flagged off by PMLA, okay, we can't open your account. So after all of these checks are done, okay, your account gets registered in exchanges. In our case, all three exchanges, BSE, NSE, and MCX. We also go and create your account which is a demat account for you to hold your shares. And after we get all the confirmations from everyone, okay, we activate you in our systems. When I say your systems, there are largely two pieces to it, which are integrated very closely. One is the order management system and the risk management system. Okay, which basically says, hey, Anupam is now ready to invest. Okay, we inform you that you are, and then what happens is, no, you go and add money. Okay. Now, if you look at some of the past instances out here where and I think you know a lot about this, and we have spoken about that as well, is the kind of frauds that have happened in the ecosystem. So, when you're a stockbroker, okay, I think the first thing that people now assume is ye to chori hai, because obviously there are stories about how money was swindled from broking accounts and all. And I think to credit of the regulators and how things are, I think investing in Indian markets today is much more safer than it was before. So if your money is like in the account, it's not used for 90 days, we have to send it back to you to your account. Okay, or even now the regulations are coming that if you don't trade for any 30 days, okay, the same money goes back to your account. Okay, we have to report your fund status to exchanges, okay, multiple times in a week now. I think I saw your message that why am I getting this message every Sunday? Okay, so this is all things which are checks and balances done by the regulators and exchanges just to make sure that investing is a safer environment. Now, what happens when you place an order? Okay, a lot of people think, hey, I'm sure, we also get these messages from customers that, let's say, I was, let's say, putting an order for Tata Motors at 500 rupees or market price. What happens? Okay, so what happens is, okay, we take your order, we quickly check how much money you have, what type of order you have placed. Is it a market order or is it an intraday order? And depending upon that, do you have enough money that is prescribed by the exchange? Okay, we check it in our RMS. Okay, the RMS goes give ahead and we send it to an OMS, which is order management system. Okay, which again is hosted in our servers. Okay, which has a connectivity with the exchange. Okay, because you have a choice where you want to put your order. And that's how the order goes, sits in the exchange. Okay, if it's a market order, it has liquidated, we get executed. We get the information and it's shown to you that your order is executed. So all of this, what I've said, there are tons of checks in place. Okay, is it a legit trade? Is it the money available? Is the margin available? And so on. But for you, what we want to do is lightning fast experience. So before you could realize, okay, you have a confirmation that this trade has gone. Okay, so this is the one part of the story. The second part is basically what happens after it. How does the stock come to your account? So at the end of the day, we get settlement files from the exchanges which says, these are the transactions that's happened across all your clients or to a specific client. Okay, then we settle those transactions. And the next day, okay, we get confirmations from the depository about the trades, and then your stocks are getting delivered to your account in T+2, which now is going to become T+1 for some of the stocks. So yeah, so a lot of things happen behind the scene. Our job at Dhan, or probably everyone who's in the industry, is trying to make their entire process much simpler and easier for you. So that is what we are doing.
What happens when everything freezes? Okay, because we saw that last year. We saw it on 13th March 2 years ago. Sorry, 2 saal ho gaye yaar. We saw it on 13th March 2020. We saw it on 23rd March 2020. You had two lower circuit days. Everything froze up, and every once in a while, when volatility freaks out or there's a big opening, gap up, gap down, everything freezes. Chahe jo bhi broker ho, because if you're on Twitter on that day, if you just do a simple search on the broker name, you'll find like 1000 galis. Ye freeze ho gaya, wo freeze ho gaya, and that's real, yaar. I mean, you're getting a great price out there that you don't have any access to. Why? So what happens then? Why does this happen even today?
So fortunately for us, okay, we've always been up from the day that we went live. But then I think there are so many moving pieces. Okay, when an order moves from a user to the exchange. Okay, I'll tell you a simple thing. Let's say you are putting an order at 500 rupees and say, hey, I want to buy, let's say, Tata Motors at 450, it's trading at 500. Okay, you saw the rate came at 450, but your trade didn't happen. Most people don't realize that might not be liquidity enough for your transaction to get executed. Kisi aur ka ho gaya hoga. So these are small things, etc. But then you end up thinking, hey, this app is not working. Okay, or systems are frozen. Okay, and so on. So I think there are lots of moving pieces when a transaction moves to an exchange. Okay, it's maintained at the exchange level. Okay, there are tons of things that we are building, and we'll talk about that.
Sure.
Okay, but I think from the way systems are today, okay, and the way we think, okay, the kind of tech that is required now, okay, to scale this system. Because see, just 24 months back, okay, the entire industry was prepared to handle around 12 to 15 million users, okay. Now the industry has to handle roughly around 35 million users, okay. So it is a massive task for everyone to scale up to make sure the systems are always up and running and all. But yeah, when brokers go down, okay, people have positions and people understand, hey, this is real. My money is real. My money is stuck out there, and you get that feeling of being restless and all. And we try to make sure that we do all of that, okay. Which is why in fact, a lot of folks from our side now, okay, we build a habit that between market hours we all do customer service. Okay, so we know what's happening out there. We know what our users are going after, and we are able to fix things immediately on the fly.
So let's talk about that. You guys launched when? You launched on Murat trading day last year?
Yes.
Yeah. So what it's been, I guess, about 6-8 months so far. How has the response been? And what are you seeing at Dhan? Let's talk about your journey now, since the date started.
Sure. So in fact, we announced the product a little before that. We wanted to make sure that we get a close set of users and start building or iterating products with them. I am a big fan of achieving something that we all call as product market fit, which basically means is this product good enough to users' expectations and all. So I mean, while there are tons of stockbroking platforms out there, okay, there are a few things that we want to make sure that we have much better or probably a awesome experience, both from a product side and even from a customer service side. Okay, so we opened the app few weeks before Murat trading actually. Worked with I think around 6,000 odd users, okay, and got their feedback. Asked them what is working, what is not working, and all. It was a private invitation only product at that point of time, and we got tons of feedback. Okay, so even today we run a community, okay, where in a day we get at least 25-30 unique requests, okay, on the community. Our mail is widely published in every email that is sent to the users, so we end up, I think every day we end up getting around 150-200 odd requests for features, okay, and then we realize that there's so much to build out there, okay. So what has happened in the last I think 8 or 10 weeks from the time that we launched is that we are able to get some of the pieces in the market that we realized were, or we didn't know that existed, okay. And these are simpler things, okay. Today like people like us, okay, we are in the market, so we are sitting in front of laptops and all the time, monitoring markets. But there's a different set of audience out there who's busy throughout the days, and the only time that they have to look at markets, okay, or to place an order is in the evening, okay, or when the markets are off, or probably on the weekends, okay. And then when your week starts, you forget about that. So there are things that we have done is you place an order 24/7. Okay, we accept the order without you going and marking an order separately as a AMA order and so on. So those are things that we realized. We realized that people wanted to build portfolios over a longer period of time. Okay, so we initiated SIPs in weekly and monthly format initially. And I was surprised with the kind of feedback that we were getting. People were asking for daily SIPs, and I don't know why people are asking for that. Okay, and it doesn't make any sense. But then we said, let's give what people are asking for. And we have tons of people now, okay, actually opting in for daily SIPs, okay, and we see a value because now some people have said, no, I want to invest 100 rupees every day, okay, or I want to invest 1,000 rupees in a particular stock every day and all. So I think people have different ways of looking at market, okay. What we realize that we have to be a platform where you basically make sure that what they wish or what they want, you get them to it. So that's one. Other thing, what we also realize is, most of the traders out there, okay, you must have seen this in front of, 2 or 3 different monitors. They have their own laptop, okay, and they also have their own phone, okay, looking at markets on multiple charts. And when we're looking at all of this, we realized, hey, people spend so much time in front of charts, okay, literally in front of charts. If you're taking one position, 2 positions, you have 2 monitors, or you split the screens and all. So our question was, why can't we let them trade directly from the charts, right? If all the analysis in the world, okay, is happening on the charts, and there are tools, there are indicators that people literally follow, why can't you actually let them trade from charts? Which is where we reached out to TradingView, and in partnership with them, we launched a new product which was trade from charts, okay, with TradingView, okay. So that's actually doing very, very well for us, okay. We keep on getting new requests from folks. and we keep on building that on. In fact, just today in the morning, we launched bracket orders over there, where if you want to do multiple transactions on top of charts, you can just go and place in single click, go and execute all transactions. So what I've realized is now, Anupam, there are different personalities or different kind of traders, okay, have different aspirations or different ways to invest, okay, or different reasons to invest. And we as a platform now want to make sure that we enable all of them, okay, and obviously prioritize depending upon what's been asked the most. So that's how we are building right now. Then it's a discovery, and I think in this long journey we just have completed 12 weeks, so very very early days again. But we have managed to get about 100,000 users who have switched from other platforms and now looking at our product every day in and day out. So even the smallest of things, like today was the expiry day. We had a new peak of number of transactions per user.
Wow.
Okay, and we just saw today's number, and we saw an average trader today on the expiry day is placing around 14 orders. Okay, which is insanely high. Okay, but this is because of the tools that we are providing them. This is about so much information that's been given to them, which was distributed earlier. So just few days back, when we looked at traders and we spoke with them, okay, they say, hey, I look at option chain on NSE website, I look at OI graphs somewhere else, I look at put call ratios some other places, I look at breakout some other things. So our thing is, why don't we all integrate these pieces, okay, wherever you want it, and put a simple buy sell button next to it. Okay, so that's what we have been doing, and actively talking to traders, investors, and getting their feedback, and trying to make sure we build much faster, because obviously we're the last ones in the race now. So our pace of shipping out things needs to be much faster than the industry.
12 weeks, 100,000 users. Congrats, and I hope that you hit 1 million much before your expectations. Vijay, let's go a little bit deeper about these behavioral trends, right? Because I remember, I think last year or quite some time ago, Nitin at Zerodha had posted this post on his blog where he said that in the time that Yes Bank stock price, I think, fell some 80-90% or something, the number of users just shot up. And people probably thought that, falling stock hai, bank hai, so why not buy? Whereas obviously we know that that Yes Bank fell from, 400 to 40 to 13, whatever. So there are a lot of mistakes in stock trading. Again, something that Nitin has pointed always on his tweets, that stock trading is not as easy as you think it is. ऐसा नहीं कि बैठ गया machine पे, system पे, and dhada dhada making money. It's not like that. But that's something that we know now for a very long period of time. Any interesting behavioral trends from these new set of users that have come to the market, or are they just making the same mistakes over and over again, or anything there?
Honestly, Anupam, I think the market is now divided into two sets of people, okay, or I would say three sets of people, okay. The first one being the ones who are sitting in front of the markets every day, which are traders, okay, and these are like 5 million traders is what we believe is a number where they are actually on the market every day, okay. Now, okay, if you look at the number of investors, okay, the number of investors have exploded, okay, but number of traders is not probably exploding at the same rate the number of investors are, okay. So maybe in the last 24 months we added 25 million demat accounts, okay, which are active and as reported on NSE, but the number of traders didn't move from 5 million to 10 million, okay. It at max might have added around 500,000 users to that, okay. And obviously everyone tries, by the way, okay. So what we have seen is when someone new in the market, okay, you think it's a game and you think you can win, okay, which is more of a behavioral trait than anything else. But the the market tell you in a different ways that, hey, this is the market and you still have to get your play or get your act right. So fewer things, I think the best of the traders are much more disciplined today, okay, at least when we looked at data, okay, like, there are a few things that we track actively, is number of active sessions that we have, and number of traders sitting in front of their terminals or their charts or their mobile phones and all, okay. So what we noticed that the best of the traders would wait for the right breakout for them to happen. Okay. Now, every trader would have their own different ways, which is what I said. The journey for us is building. Okay. So there are some folks who look at technicals. There are some folks who look at their favorite indicators. There are tons of them. There are a few folks who look at charts. There are a few folks. I think people have their strategies in place. Okay, and depending upon how the stocks are moving or if they are doing any F&O trading, how the underlying movements are happening. Okay, I think the best of the disciplined traders today, okay, they spend a lot of time, do studies and all, and would not take any trade till the time the desired trend that they want is getting into it. But I think that happens with the behavior. Okay, so that's for traders, by the way. Okay, I think when it comes to investors, investors clearly divided into two segments: the number of people who came to the market in the last 2 years, and number of people who have stayed in the market for more than 2 years. Okay, and I think this is what all of us know, keep on bothering. Hey, it's good, numbers of increasing, number of people investing in the markets are really exploding, and every month, okay, this number is not going down. So I thought, when the first time I saw numbers post pandemic, okay, I think an average let's say leading broker, which probably was adding 30,000 accounts a month, he started adding 1.5 lakh accounts a month. Okay, and I thought, hey, this might just die down, right? How long would this go? But this has not stopped. Okay, today the entire industry is adding to around 2.5-3 million accounts. Okay, every month, and this is active traded accounts. Okay, so the worry is, okay, if the market starts correcting, okay, and I'm sure all of us look at market and we see a 1% dip and we say this is a correction. But people who have been in the market, they know correction is not 1%. It's going to be 50%. It's going to be it's going to be blood red out there. And then, okay, that is where which will define how many of these investors who have come in the last 2 years would actually go to the next stage. Okay, so I think as a behavior, some of these things will be learned either by taking losses, or and you be wise and look at everyone's losses and so on. But I think the investing as a trend would continue. I think these lessons that market teaches all of us individually, I think they would be learned by everyone in their own ways. But yes, having said that, okay, markets are exciting. There are people who still talk about, hey, we are going to cross, Sensex is going to cross 100,000 someday soon. And obviously there are people who are waiting for correction for the last 24 months, but it's again not happening. So markets being markets, I think we all can talk about it, but there is no way we can predict how things are going to happen.
क्या लगता है का तो कोई जवाब ही नहीं है. Okay, so winding down this episode, last couple of questions, Pravin. What's next for stock trading in India? Let's look at your view, or how the broking industry is going to evolve from here. I mean, we've seen a lot of changes in the last 2 years, okay, and where are we headed now for the industry from here?
So we look at it in multiple segments now. Okay, like I said, a trader has multiple ways to trade. I think this market has multiple behaviors where you'll see a lot of commonalities in that sense. Okay, so I'm sure. Okay, see, all this chatter about where the markets are headed and all is one part. Okay, but where the industry is headed also depends a lot upon where the markets are headed. Okay, which is where, okay, all of us are very bullish about the markets. Okay, and the same thing would also continue, means the number of investors are going to come and all. But I think as an industry, few things are going to change a lot. Okay, so a few years down the line, when there were offline stockbrokers and all, you used to see so many of them. If you look at the pace of accounts which are opened today by online brokers, okay, or whichever you want to call, discount brokers, online brokers, or web mobile first brokers, okay, I think that now contributes significantly higher. It actually is now about 80% of all new accounts which are opened in the market. Okay, the next 15% is oddly evenly distributed between offline, which is bank-driven brokers and traditional brokers, and there's a long tail of brokers which is catering the last 3 to 5%. Okay, I don't think this trend is going to change now. So that's number one. I think about pricing, I think more or less the industry is now at a standard discount pricing. Okay, where as an industry, and all credit to Nitin Zerodha to make sure that has happened, is that pricing has become a standard. So today even the traditional brokers have a discount broking plan, and also the banks, which were very reluctant for all these years, they also have a discount broking plan today. There's an interesting debate, is that is this going to become zero? Okay, is this going to because, which is not going to happen, because I think the larger brokers now know for the fact that you have to invest a lot in technology, which in our case, okay, we are actually making sure servers are always up, there's enough connectivity, enough bandwidth, and we are delivering the promise of fast experience to the users who are coming on board. So I don't think the prices are going to go down. I think 20 rupees is something which the industry has optimized for. And there are tons of small brokers out there who are actually offering lower prices. But it's not that people have left, okay, the large guys, okay, or the bank driven or even the discount brokers, and have gone and opted for zero broking or subscription based booking and so on, because there are different flavors to it. I think what people today look at are awesome solutions, awesome product. And in the industry where earlier the mode was distribution or offline distribution, then the mode become, let's say, bank driven distribution, and then the mode was margin. Okay, because every broker has his own margin, used to get 50x leverage with some pro folks and all. I think all that thing has now gone out of the way. Okay, so what we feel when we are building Dhan today is that in a market where everything is a commodity, okay, even the price is a commodity, right? What is going to stand out is how awesome product you build, what is the experience that you give to your users, and is it backed by an superb customer service. Okay, in fact, which is where all of us today are, while we are building Dhan, we make sure we contribute at least 4-5 hours a day individually amongst all of us, okay, and doing customer service, trying to understand what is that the user wants. Okay, I think that trend will be there. The next trend, which is very visible, okay, if you look at some of the signals, is that the number of people today who are making payments online is roughly around 120 odd million. Okay, so the people who can make payments can also actually come and invest. Okay, that's the next logical thing for them, right? So is this market going to explode? The answer is yes, it's going to explode in terms of number of accounts and all. But then again, it's going to introduce a lot of new investors to the market. Okay, so right now, I think with the current product I've done, we are catering to people who have been in the market for more than 12 to 18 months, who know what markets are, or people who want to trade, they want better tools to trade. This is what we focus with the current version of Dhan. What we also realize, there is a set of users, okay, who are new users come to the market, or millennials or early Gen Z and all. Okay, they don't want all of this thing. They say, I want to invest. Okay, I'll come and check my product. Okay, and look at my portfolio. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, or I personally, okay, when I am in my investing mode, I don't look at my portfolio every now and then. I check in my weekend. Acha, itna bada hua, theek hai. Or probably you're busy. If you're super busy, then I'll probably, it's there, let it continue. Okay, I don't sell, I don't buy and all. So I think the market is divided into that segment as well, where they want a simple product. So from Dhan, we are making sure that we look at that segment as well. And probably mid this year, we start building a product which is catering to new investors and all. And the other bet that we are taking, and it's a big leap of faith for all of us, is that the next distribution layer is going to be tech led. Okay, so the sub brokers of yesterday and the bank driven distribution of just few years back is going to be replaced by an API stack. Okay, so we in fact are going to expose the same APIs on which we have built Dhan, okay, to a lot of fintechs and to a lot of partners, be it fintechs, partners, bank, or even techie. Let's say you are a techie who knows everything, who codes, okay, and there's tons of such folks, okay, who are awesome engineers in Bangalore today. Okay, they want an API access. Why can't I write my own algo program? Okay, or this is the way Dhan has designed the product. I'm not happy with it. Okay, let me just design my own product and all. So for those folks, we're actually building a full stack API. Okay, and you don't like what you're building. Okay, here are the APIs. Go build it yourself. Okay, or there's a fintech out there. Okay, who is looking at doing personal finance, but they don't want to get regulations, or they don't want to have a hassle of doing so much operations of stockbroking. But they do want to offer investing as a product to their customers. Okay, so we are taking that bet, and we are actually building a full stack API, which we're going to call Dhan HQ. Okay, and we are in the final stages of putting that product out in front of the market. So I think number of users, yes, going to increase. Number of investors, yes, going to increase. The distribution of tomorrow is largely going to be driven by APIs. And I think what users would appreciate, okay, in the coming years is not investing, because no matter where you invest today, you're going to get the same Tata Motors share that probably I have in Dhan account, right? There's no difference out there, okay? As a broker, I can't provide you more margin than anyone else, okay? So the margin is same and all, okay? Pricing has become a standard. So our bet is on awesome product experience backed by a great customer service is what we are focusing on personally. And like I said, this is just a bet. Okay, as markets, we can't predict what happens out there, but as a startup, we can obviously make sure we do our best to take a leap of faith and build on these bets.
Nice. I mean, you've given a bit of a trailer, so to say, but what are your plans at Raise? Right, Dhan is just one part of Raise. I'm sure that probably the biggest part of Raise right now because, and I've seen some great. Your website is pretty interesting. Your tweets have also been interesting in terms of the kind of organization you want to build at Raise. What are the plans here?
So a few things, okay, and okay, I think let's step back. When you said the number of accounts are exploding, number of users are exploding in this market, okay. I think no, we are not. I'm not sure though, how this is going to pan out, but our bet is to make sure we become profitable first. Okay, and if you recollect the conversation that we started earlier was that no, I want to make sure we build a revenue first and profitable company. Now, my view on this, let's talk about stockbroking. Okay, even the smallest of stockbroker in India, he runs a shop which is profitable. Okay, and that's how business is to be run, right? So my view is if you are building something with tech today, you build a fundamentally revenue first strong business and then move on. Okay, add tech, awesome customer service, build a super product and all. Okay, and make it scalable to an extent that you build an insanely revenue first profitable company and obviously awesome experience that you would expect as a fintech to provide. Okay, so that's what we are working on. Overall, from perspective of Raise, okay, we do want to make sure that no, we build a suite of financial services and not just investing. Okay, but the way we are looking forward to it is no, can we have investing as an anchor product, okay, and serve this community of folks, okay, who are so much indulged into investing. Okay, so some of the parallels, okay, so while I'm a big fan of making sure we look at different markets and all, but obviously what works in some other market doesn't work for us. But I think few of the things that I look up personally in this domain is something like a Marcus by Goldman Sachs, okay, where they have built a product or built a financial services company around investing. Okay, so I think that is what we as Raise want to go and build. Done is obviously first product, and our every product will have a similar approach that we build a product and we use whatever APIs that we are using, we actually put it out for folks to build on top of that and take the product or take the product or experience to masses. So that is the theme that we have selected. This is the first product from our side, and I think for the next 24 months, okay, we're going to focus and double down on this bet.
Fantastic, and let's hope that I can get you in the studio. I believe the IVM studio is now open for recordings, and you're in Waverly. Kya baat hai? You're in Bombay, I'm in Bombay, and hope to have you in the studio soon. Hopefully, the worst of this pandemic is behind us. But folks, there you go. That's a wrap on this episode of Paisa Vaisa. My guest, Pravin Jadhav, founder, CEO at Dhan. The app is available on Android, on iOS and everywhere, right? Right, PJ?
Yes.
Go ahead and have a look. The website is dhan.com. What's the website?
It's dhan.co.
There you go, folks. Dhan.co. It's a very interesting website. Have a look at that. Have a look at the app. PJ, thanks. Yeah, thank you so much for doing this for our listeners. Really hope to have you in the studio very soon.
Thanks, Anupam. Always a pleasure talking to you.
And that's a wrap of this episode of Paisa Vaisa, powered by Max Life Insurance. And listeners, if you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to reach out to me, I'm your host, Anupam Gupta, B50 on Twitter. And thank you so much for listening to Paisa Vaisa.
No material on the show should be considered as financial advice. The material on the show is for informational purposes only. Please consult a financial advisor before taking any investment decision.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On the Filter Coffee Podcast, Karthik speaks to 3 independent filmmakers, Guneet Monga, Sophia Paul, and Ashwin Iyer Tiwari. They dive into a conversation that is full of anecdotes, different visions, and films. Our new show, Voices for Water, hosted by Karthik Nagarajan, discusses India's Great Water Challenge. It examines the current state of availability of water in India and how we as citizens can do our bit to tackle this challenge. On the Paisa Vaisa podcast, Anupam is joined by Binal Gandhi and Sonira Sangvi, co-authors of Piggy Bank to Portfolio, How to Raise Financially Smart Kids. They talk about the reason behind writing this book and their research findings with more than 500 parents. On the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast, Ashwin and DJ talk about the untimely demise of cricket legend Shane Warne. They also cover the India vs Sri Lanka series. On the Life Manifesto, Zarina highlights things she wishes that we were taught when we were younger, especially for women. And on All Things Policy, Megha talks to Arjun to discuss the recent tests conducted by the DRDO and how militaries around the world are embracing quantum. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you enjoyed this show or any of our shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Word of mouth really does help us. And also, please, a rating if you could. That is also extremely helpful to us. And remember, we're also on YouTube. You can check out ivmpodcast.com/YouTube to get a list of the different channels that we operate on YouTube. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life Insurance, Bank of Baroda, India Water Portal, and Max Life Insurance.
IVM